Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District. I'm Nathan. That's Trev. That's the Stoner. And we have a great live show for you. Of course, we bring it to you live every Wednesday at 7:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We'll bring it to you on your favorite audio platforms right after that. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you're listening to us afterwards, don't forget to leave a comment. Get that engagement numbers up for us. We always appreciate everybody who joins. We've already got Yam in the house. He gets a little head start there, being out there in Japan. EP, Doug, and the Dubs family all here, and we've got quite the show for you. On the warm-up, we're going to be bringing you the final thoughts on the Cowboys game. Trev gets to speak his piece, and then we'll be talking about the rumors on Dan Snyder. Is he actually going to be pressured to sell this team? There's a lot of smoke, and even our resident poo-pooer, Stoner, is getting a little tingly about this one. So we'll have to see what he has to say on the Dan Snyder news. For the game, we'll be bringing you the injury updates. B-Rob back at practice, the keys to victory over the Titans, and Stoner has a theory. Just that theory is about just what's going on with Carson Wentz. Love to hear it. We'll hear that in the game. And then we'll be cooling down with, of course, some Dolla-Dolla and Jonathan Allen's comments and Ron's comments. All that coming up here on today's show. Like I said, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We also sponsored by some amazing people here. Pacers running for every run. They've got you covered. Skybar in Lexington. We need a great saying there for you. What's your slogan there, Trev? Whatever it is, make sure you head down to Lexington. Skybar down in Lexington. He's got you covered. Mention Ref the District, and your drink is on us. We'll get you that. Yeah, we'll get you going. You got one drink on us. The rest you're gonna have to pay. We're not that loaded.
This one.
Just the one. And then, of course, we're sponsored by Manscaped. Head out to manscaped.com. Use the code REF. That is R as in ref, E as in F, and F as in F. You can check that out there. Ref the District. Just use the code REF at manscaped.com. Love to see more people in the chat now. Al Catone, Rockman, Commandalorian, and
Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass in there, and thinking they'll finish either 7-10 or 6-11. I think we'd be pretty happy with that after starting 1-3, especially after this loss against Dallas, which is where we're going to start off. Because Trev, you work on Mondays. You're manning the bar there down in Lexington. So you didn't join us for the day after reckoning. We had some pretty spicy things to say on that one.
Oh yeah.
What you were very frustrated during our live stream. What are your thoughts on that game?
I just felt like we could have won that game. I just felt like we were so undisciplined, so many penalties, whether it was on purpose or not from the refs, they were, against us or not, whatever the conspiracy theories on that. We still had way too many penalties, no matter what, end of the day. Our running game was great, but just it seemed like everything we did was negated because of penalties. And then our offensive line is just there's no continuity there. I mean, but then you got Trey Turner, who apparently quote unquote isn't ready. Well, he missed all the training camp, so it doesn't surprise me. Then you got Sam Cosme, he hurt his hand, which is probably why he was so poopy because he's normally not that bad. Then you got,
PFF still graded him fairly high.
Yeah, you got our center who's been with us for 2 weeks, who's probably played the center in real life for maybe a total of 5 snaps before that. I don't know. Then
he's a real center.
He's had half a season, but Stoner brought that up, Trev. Martin, there's the snaps were better than Wes Schweitzer, but the blocking was still very questionable.
Yeah. You got Sadiq Charles, who shined first half and then forgot what he did in the second half. So it's just we don't have any continuity on the offensive line right now. It's all just so after all the smoke clears, sit down and think about okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of the excuse, the kind of MO this whole year ever since week one. After we won, we just have had bad offensive play for 3 straight weeks. So I don't want to talk about it too much. I just think we could have been a lot better. Even if we didn't win, I thought we could at least score more than 10 and at least stopped. Because they didn't do anything on offense. They had 5 big plays of 20 yards or more, something like that. Three straight to CeeDee Lamb, made him look like a wide receiver 1, which he's really not. But of course,
anybody's going to be wide receiver 1 when they're going up against a linebacker. I mean,
yeah, true. So it is what it is. Just got to be more disciplined for Tennessee. But that's my take on Dallas. Undisciplined.
The more I've been watching, paying more attention to it, I see that a lot nowadays. In that linebackers are covering wide receiver 1s. Like in that Monday night game, I was watching the Rams linebacker trying to cover Cooper Kupp, and I'm going, what are they doing? No wonder he's got 14 catches or 19 targets or whatever. Not every time, of course, but when they scheme it up right, then next thing you know, Cooper Kupp is on a linebacker, and you're like, well, I'm throwing it there. I don't care what.
Well, and we talked about that, Stoner, on Monday, that there's no more pre-snap movements, right? Like you used to, if you watch that Jaguars game.
Oh, everybody.
Our wide receivers are getting worn out, just running up and down from sideline to sideline, trying to readjust. But it was working. You scored the first 2 touchdowns on your first 2 drives, and then you stalled out, but then you're able to put on points and win that game.
Yeah.
And then we haven't really seen that these losses. I like this comment from Yam here. If you look at all the stats in all 3 of the losses, Washington has actually been competing against their opponents.
Yeah.
But they've been giving up these big plays, these turnovers, and on the game against Dallas, Trev, it was, like you said, those penalties. Even if you buy into the fact that there was such a disparity that it was this, it just shouldn't have been, right? And there was, it was, 10 plus penalties to 2, and they were reversed going into the game and the discipline. But even if you buy into that, like you said, Trev, you still can't put yourself in position to get those called against you.
No,
that negated 2 interceptions.
My God, and a 20-yard run by Jonathan Williams.
Yeah, though every time they had those offensive penalties, it killed the drives. And they were moving, and then they got backed up because of offensive penalties.
And you heard William Jackson say after game that it's getting harder to play corner these days because they jump into you, and even though you're in position, when they jump into you, it's an offensive league, and they're going to look for that. So it's just got to be in the right position. So I don't think that's an excuse. I think that's true because he's a man corner. Before he came to us, he was a top 10 corner, maybe top 15, top 12.
He was the top free agent cornerback.
And then playing zone is one thing, but then also maybe he has a stock to his comment. It is hard playing cornerback because no matter what, the refs are just looking for the offense nowadays. It's an offensive league. So what more can he do? Yeah. I mean, he had that one nice PBU right after the penalty. He played that perfectly. So it's well, you can play it perfectly like that. Then why you do it last time? Because when you go back and look, he does grab face mask. He does, he is in a bad spot. But at the same time, it's what can you do? Now, Kendall Fuller, there's no excuse for that. Let's just move him to a different spot. Maybe free safety. Maybe down in the box sometime. Maybe, I don't know, just somewhere where he can.
He does need to revive. Last season we saw this, right? We saw this in the beginning of the season. He wasn't having a good season, and then he became much better over the tail end of the season. But he's definitely been really rough here. Mandalorian here Fuller moves to linebacker, so Jamin Davis doesn't have to cover a wide receiver.
Good luck when Derrick Henry comes running through that hole. And
running, but if it's an obvious passing situation, maybe you do bring him down and cover a tight end.
But these guys, man, they got egos, right? Look at last year with Landon Collins.
I know.
Yeah, Landon Collins did not want to move down into that Buffalo nickel spot.
He moved down there, and he was like, "Oh, I kind of like it. It's pretty cool."
Yeah, but he said
he's jobless. Too late.
But he said he doesn't like it because there's too much wear and tear on his body, and he's not going to last very long. So these guys, we sit there and say, move Kendall Fuller to safety or some, realistic, move him to safety. He's never played safety, so he's probably like, "No, you're going to end my career."
He played free safety when he won.
Okay,
The
but they have these egos that they.
Yeah.
That they
It's also a money
"I'm
thing for
corner."
them, and that was Landon
Yeah.
Collins' thing, right? Like if he's a box safety
Mhm.
or a linebacker, which is what they were putting him as, then he's not going to make as much money
That's right.
as like a free safety.
That's
and
right.
then
Yeah.
and it's the same
those
thing
things.
with Kendall Fuller and that move. It's going to be something that's in here.
That's
so
hard to do.
Trev and Stoner, you can answer this too, because we didn't actually talk about this, but because we have Doug and several others talking about the season, all in, Doug says 9-4 finish makes a 10-7 season. I like it. That would be nice. Yam says it's going to be 7-10 season again, picking 12th in the draft. And that's where Frederick Douglass said 7-10, 6-11. After this game, I think we were all, in that 9 to Trev. I think you were at like 12 wins for this team.
We can do it.
It's possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Where, we're a quarter through the season. Would you like to adjust your prediction?
Yeah, just because that means we only lose 2 more games and win the rest.
Right. You have to.
Unless everybody stays healthy from here on out, including Chase Young and Tyler Larson and Cole Turner and Logan Thomas is 100%, which he's not 100%. We'll talk about that later, but he's not. You mentioned that at the game Sunday. But Stoner. Yeah, I'll go to 10 wins. I'm
still at 10.
So you're sticking with Doug there. You're saying that they can finish 9-4 and
we can. If we hunker down and get everybody healthy and play to our strengths instead of playing to what we hear in the reports, it seems like is what we do. We can pull out 10 wins. I really do.
I mean, the way they're playing now, they're going to win 1 or 2 more games.
Exactly.
I mean, they have to.
So you're with Commander Lorian here, who has 3-14. If the coaches don't figure out how to coach this team and scheme properly.
Well, that's gonna come into my theory later on when we get to the game portion, segment of the show. That plays into it a little bit. But I'm still dumb enough to think that this team can win 9 games.
9 games. Okay.
And I know people are like, well, what good does that do? You're still, maybe you get a wild card spot out of that, but then you're still picking 18th or 19th in the draft. What good does that do? But again, and I'll say it every week, and you'll probably hear me say that like 5 times about things I'm going to say every week, but I'll say it every week that I will never root for my team to lose just to get a high draft pick.
No.
I'm going to, unless it's like the final game of the year and maybe that plays into it. But I'm always I don't want to sit there on a Sunday and spend 4 hours hoping my team loses. I'll never do that for the rest of my life. That's just not a part of who I am. So I don't hope for that for this season. So but I'm still optimistic. I'm still dumb enough to think that they can get to 9 wins.
It's because the very first game, it was like this, but we prevailed and was like, we actually saw the potential of what this offense could be. We saw a shade of it. So we got a taste of like, we got a taste of that candy. Now we want more for real. And now,
and then we saw it again in the Detroit game in the second half.
Yeah, we did. So like now
we
we
haven't seen it since.
Worse because I know this was like 2.5 games, but like we've seen it. So that means we know that what to expect now. So that's like this. I guess that's why we're so optimistic about these 9 to 10 win seasons.
Yeah, I mean, the talent is there. The talent is there. There's no doubt. This is not we didn't get Ashburn this year.
No,
the talent is there. The players have done this in the past. Okay, the McLaurins, the Logan Thomases, the Curtis Samuels. You can't say Jahan Dotson, but Curtis or Carson Wentz, Antonio Gibson. They've all done it before in their professional careers.
Yeah, they've all been productive.
They've all been very productive players. So it's there. The talent is there. You got to put it all together. The offensive line's not helping, right? Carson being shell-shocked is not helping. All these things are playing into it. And that's where the coaches come in. The coaches have got to draw up proper game plans to play to their strengths and to get away from their weaknesses. But can they do that?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Gregory, I'm interested in where you have them because we know that you're much more down on this team than some of our other commenters. I think Mandalorian said 3-11, but he was kind of put that on the coaches. I don't think we're going to be 3-11, but I do think this team is going to struggle. I think I started the year and I said that this could be a double-digit win team, right? Like I thought 10, maybe 11 games. I wasn't as quite as bullish as you, Trev, and putting them to 12. Now I wonder, are they going to make it to 8 wins? Is where I kind of feel like this team's going to finish. I do feel I think 9 would be impressive for this team. I mean, what did we say they had to go 9-4 the rest of the way?
To go 9-4
to
against 10.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So they'd have to go 8-5. That's not unreasonable, but I really think that you're probably looking more at like 7-6 is the best
of the
that
way
they can do. Yeah, and so
Nathan,
8-9.
have you looked at the schedule?
I was going to say, here we go. So we play. We play Tennessee Sunday, which I think is winnable. Play the Bears, which
Bears are poopy.
Yeah. Packers.
Okay.
Winnable.
That's a loss.
They always beat a team that we never suspect are going to beat.
We always play Aaron Rodgers good until like the fourth quarter if we don't beat him.
All right. Let's just not even play that game.
Tyler, tiny, pinky, pikey, Heineke last year. We almost did it.
Right.
So, and he doesn't have Devontae Adams. Okay. Just saying.
All right.
Just saying.
All right.
Then we play the Colts.
Poopy.
We'll win that. Then we play the Vikings. We'll win that.
All right.
And then we play Monday night against Philly, which who knows by then.
Yeah, we're going to get smoked. Just move along on that one.
And then we play the Texans.
Poopy.
Falcons.
Poopy.
The Wildcat team, the Giants, because they ain't got a quarterback.
Yeah, we'll see where they're going to be at that
time. And then a bye.
So and then the Giants again.
Yeah. So then before we get to the bye, we could possibly go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-2. That's a loss against the Packers, Stoner.
And Eagles. Yeah. And right after the bye, you got the Giants again.
Yeah. So I mean, it's realistic.
I'm telling you.
All right, Giants again. Who finishes it out? We got the Giants.
And they got the Niners, I think.
Niners, so you can lose that.
And the Browns. And then the Browns, which might be Deshaun Watson. Which, and then Dallas again.
And then you got the Cowboys.
Cooper Rush. Who knows?
That's right.
If it's Dak, maybe we'll have a better chance. Who knows?
Alcatone 7-2 at the bye. So we'll come off the bye. We'll be and then 7-3. We could beat the Niners, right? You think?
No,
no, probably not. They're a good football team.
7-4.
Trey Lance is in there. You could.
We beat the Browns.
Sure, they're not. I mean,
they're beatable. They're 2-2 right now.
They're poopy right now.
8-4, and then we beat Dallas.
Deshaun Watson had some talent around him in Houston, and still didn't win all his games.
Well, he had one.
Yam, shout out to Yam. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you, Yam. Later.
9-4 is doable. Whoever said in the comments, that is doable with what we just went through.
Yeah, that was Doug. 9-4 gets you 10 wins. That gets you double digit.
Packers, Eagles, Niners, and
Cowboys.
No.
Get swept by the Cowboys.
Okay, Vikings.
Katie's got her room ready. She says.
No, it was the Who else was it?
Maybe the Browns. Maybe you had with Deshaun.
Yeah,
49ers, Packers.
Yeah, so it's doable. You guys.
We'll see. I love the optimism.
Who's not on there?
You know who's not on that schedule?
Tampa Bay,
Kansas City,
the Rams, Kansas City, the Seahawks, the Saints.
Seahawks, you kind of hope they would be, but yeah.
I don't know. Gino's balling.
He ain't balling that much, but he's he's
Broncos are on there. Who else?
The Bills, right?
The Dolphins,
yeah,
Patriots, yeah. So
you don't have the top teams now. Look, everybody is looking at the schedule and they're looking at Washington and going, "Ha, there's a win." Even the Giants are doing that, and the Texans are doing that. They're all saying the same thing about Washington, which is fine. But when we look at those teams, we look at winnable type games. You all right, Trev?
Yeah, Baja Blast, baby.
We look at winnable games with poopy quarterbacks, and that's better than the alternate. So let's give ourselves at least a chance.
Okay,
Bears.
All right. It will be interesting to see how it plays out. I love the optimism from some of the people. And maybe there's reason for optimism because some kind of smoke started coming out today around Dan Snyder maybe selling the team. Now, Doug says he dislikes Snyder, but doesn't want him manipulated out. Only legit wrongdoing and not hearsay politics kind of stuff. Now, where we're kind of getting this kind of got some mojo kind of flowing through this is Pat McAfee kind of brought it up on his show. Now, that one felt a little loose. Didn't necessarily feel like there was too much behind it. There was the article from Washington Post that Dan Snyder's one of the most likely to sell, and that maybe there's some inkling of something behind. And then EB from the Junkies mentions it as well. Doesn't want to put anything out on air yet, which isn't out yet, which is not out of the norm for them because they did kind of get their hands slapped when it came to the Wilkinson report.
Although they were correct.
They were correct. And they have had correct information before. I know a lot of people, like to dislike the Junkies, but they do have some connections there. And EB seems to have an inkling that this time it feels different. And Stoner, you've been the person who has been most staunch. He's not going to sell the team. There's no way. It's just not going to happen unless there's like literal racist comments that somebody has him mic'd up on. But you were kind of like, I don't know, this one feels different.
Yes.
Why? Why does it feel different to you?
Well, let's be clear first that I'm not saying that this feels different, that he's going to be forced to sell the team. I'm saying that this feels different in that there's going to be a bombshell report that comes out or news that comes out that may eventually lead to him having to sell the team. But this particular
still like 2 steps away.
Yeah, this particular incident feels different to me because of how it's coming out. The Pat McAfee thing of him having that he's going to sell the team, I don't put hardly any stock into it, other than it's just coming on the heels of all these other reports. Sure. And all these other reports, they're reports of people saying that there may be a possible vote, that they have possibly enough votes to vote him to sell the team, to kick him out of it. It's just a whole bunch of words in there that mean absolutely nothing. That's what it's been before. But now just the feeling that there's actually going to be another big bombshell that's going to come out. And let's not forget, there are still 2 investigations at least that we know of, 2 investigations that are ongoing concerning Dan Snyder and accusations in the past. And that one big one, and I can't remember the name of the lawyer or the firm that is running this particular investigation.
Betty Jo White?
Yeah. The Betty White, the Betty Jo White investigation, right. And that one is at a specific charge that somebody made that Dan, not Dan's people working under him, that Dan himself
was involved
with a sexual assault
or harassment,
or harassment, right. So I think those may be connected. That's where I think everything is leading, is to a bombshell investigation report that comes out that may eventually lead to him coming out. But there's also, I don't believe it's a coincidence that Dan Snyder just all of a sudden out of the blue,
say it,
pops up.
I was about to say that. Thank you.
And takes a picture.
I was about to say that.
With the most influential and powerful owner, probably in all of sports, and Jerry Jones. And not only that, that's one thing, but when he has his organization tweet out that picture, right? It wasn't him. It wasn't somebody just got that photo or whatever. It was the organization that was sending a message.
Yes.
Me and Jerry, we like this.
Yeah.
And I need him. And Jerry needs me. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I think, he knows.
That's interesting to think of it that way, because
he's been MIA this whole time, but all of a sudden now he wants to come back and this comes out days after that he was. He's in town for a reason. It wasn't for the Cowboys game.
Yeah, I find that's actually a very interesting theory because a lot of people have been kind of pointing to that. Dan's smiling in that photo. Does that look like does that look like a guy who's going to be forced to sell the team, right?
Yep.
But
yeah,
Stoner, that's a pretty interesting theory.
That's what he's smiling for.
Yeah.
He's not even wearing our colors anymore. Yeah. And he wasn't even standing next to his wife.
Understood the assignment.
He wasn't even standing next to his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a really a bad.
He was standing next to Jerry.
I was sitting there going, wait, what? But that's going to be interesting in the next probably couple of weeks.
Sure.
And like you said, Nathan, the junkies do take a lot of crap or whatever, but I believe them when they go on air and they say they've got something and it's coming. Because they've never done that to where say they've got something and it's coming and then they were totally wrong.
Right.
They've gotten in trouble for releasing information that wasn't supposed to be released, but they've never released anything that turned out to be incorrect. So I believe because they're not news people and they make that very clear. They're not journalists. You know, they're just a bunch of radio guys. Yeah. And so they can say those things, but they do have a reputation to uphold and they're not just going to throw things out there if they don't have something. So they've got something.
Trav, do you feel pretty excited this time about this, or is this same old, same old?
Nah, I mean, everybody's, kind of same old till anything's proven. But I don't know. Like Stutter says, Edie reports it. Pat McAfee, whether it's right or wrong, he's reporting something about some rumblings. So, I mean, and he's not just doing it just to start anything, even though he has an issue with our fans, which I don't blame him. But anyway, I
have an issue with our fans too, but we'll get to that later in the show.
I don't know if he'll be forced to sell, but he might be like suspended for like a year.
I don't think a suspension's good enough, and I don't think this sounds like it's
no, but like.
To me, it doesn't sound like this is suspension, right? This sounds like this is the ball that's going to move it forward to Dan Snyder.
Well, like I said,
I'm not going to get my hopes up for this though, because this is where the moment that Stoner got excited about it, I kind of had to like take a step back and go, wait a minute, and I don't want to get wrapped up into this and get our hopes up or anything. So I think I just was just like, let Stoner be excited. I'm going to be reserved this time because Trev, you and I were like, this might be it. This is it. And Stoner's always been like, nope, not going to happen.
Right. You're kind of taking a step further than I'm willing to take it. I'm not saying that this is going to be news that he has to sell the team.
Right.
But I'm saying it's going to be something big.
Huge.
What comes from that, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think anything will ever come to that unless there's
it's probably going to be the exact opposite of what we want, right? Like it's not going to be Dan Snyder's going to continue being the owner, but we'll have like 3 firsts stripped from us. Our salary cap's going to be docked like $20 million and we will be the ones to suffer. That's what it's going to be there.
Something like that.
But I like this. We got Amazon Prime Stadium, Tesla Stadium, Amazon Stadium. Great with Tubi coming in here with a $5 donation.
We
appreciate it,
man.
We do have the super chat open. You can always get in there. We appreciate it when you do that. Of course, really, just we if you just like and subscribe. If you can't give us anything, that's fine. Just make sure you like and subscribe. But people like the Great with Tubi supporting this channel. We love to see it. He says, or they say, I heard they are selling the team to Jack Kent Cook's ghost.
Hey,
I think a lot of people will go back to that one. I think if they did sell the team, I wonder, we're not going to get too far into this because we got a game to talk about.
Yeah.
But if Dan's forced to sell the team, I do think we might hear some more rumblings about the stadium getting in DC. So, but we're not going to get too far. A lot of people saying the team name's going to change. I don't think it will. Not unless they move cities entirely.
A whole nother rebrand.
What we wouldn't want. But I tell you what we do want. We want the Titans this week. So catch us here on the game where we will be talking about the Titans matchup. I heard in the chat there that the Titans have a lot of people missing. So do Washington. More on that here on the game.
The game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 5 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
Welcome back to the game. There's EP. That was a little different that time. A little different. Love to have her a part of this channel. So
it's
big
Pacers
shout out to
Running.
EP. Big shout out to those in the chat too. That we've got a lot of people here. Uptown Dre, Big Simple, Scotty's in the house. Big Watubi, as we mentioned earlier. Josh, Emilio, all those K80 Tick is on there. That's the one where said Titans missing a bunch of key players for Sunday. Washington had a surprise, did not practice today, at least surprise for me. Team says it's just an illness, not COVID. But Curtis Samuel sat out today. Who else was out there, Stoner?
Who was on the injury list?
Do not practice. Who's on that injury list?
I probably should have looked that up.
Brought that up. I set you up.
I think Trev's looking it up right now.
Trev's pulling it up. My bad. I set my man Stoner up. I thought he had it.
I usually do. For some reason, I didn't write it down this time. But we do know, of course,
Jahan Dotson. He's going to be out for a week or two.
Sam Cosme.
He's going to be out for a few weeks with that hand.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
Okay, those they only do not practice. I mean, Samuel was an illness.
On this report, it just says. Wait, on this one, it just says Wes Schweitzer.
Well, Schweitzer, same thing. They haven't. Oh, they did.
Oh, that was week 2. Sorry.
Got week 2 on there. While you're pulling up the official report there, we're going to talk about Joshua's comment here. Any news on Chase Young? Yes and no. The news on him is that he's not ready to come back. They have not activated him.
Yeah.
So he's still, as Commandalorian says here, 2 to 3 weeks away
at least.
And so when they have time for him to sit, and then they have to activate him within 3 weeks, and then we might still be do not practice. It might still be a few weeks away from seeing Chase Young. So the news on Chase is that he's not ready, and so that's not really news. So that's your yes and no answer there. It's kind of a little bit on the fence. Maybe not so exciting for fans, but there was somebody activated today that got a lot of people excited, and that's Brian Robinson, activated and practicing. Ron Rivera, absolutely. Big round of applause to the young man.
Yep.
Ron Rivera said that Brian Robinson, they were trying to keep him on a pitch count, and he snuck over to the scout team just to get some more snaps. And they're like having to slow him down a little bit. And that one's going to be interesting to watch come against the Titans, who do have reasonable run defense, and what he's able to do there on that pitch count and stuff. So, Trev, were you able to pull up that injury report?
Yeah, well, I told you is what it was.
Okay, it was just those 3.
Yeah,
that didn't practice. Yeah, I mean, and all 3 of those that didn't practice are guys that are not. Well, I think they put Schweitzer on the IR, right?
Schweitzer
is on the injured reserve.
Yeah, just Cosme, Brown, and
they put Schweitzer on IR. That's when they brought up Wes Martin.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into this question from Emilio here. What do you guys think this offensive line is going to look like this week?
Another variation.
You got Cosme's out, and Sadiq Charles is in at right guard.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're going to see. I think what you're going to see is the left side is going to be the same, right? Leno, who's been very good this year.
Yes.
Norwell. Okay, he's been fine. I think Tyler Larson will be ready for this game, but it's not for sure that he's going to be ready. He was activated again, just like Brian Robinson.
The other activation.
He was activated off of the injury list, which means they have 3 weeks to put him on the active roster. So it may not be this week, but I think it will be. So it's either that or Nick Martin at center, right? Right guard is going to be Sadiq Charles. Right tackle is going to be Cornelius Lucas. And just like Gus Bus, who we haven't seen Gus Bus today, have we yet?
Not yet.
Just like Gus Bus, who loves Wes Schweitzer, I'm a Cornelius Lucas guy. I think when he plays pretty well. So I'm not upset that he's going to be in there at right tackle. So that's probably what's going to be. And you're going to have Wes Martin. Trey Turner is probably not going to be even a backup. It'll probably be Chris Paul. And then you're going to probably have one of the new guys or a guy you've never heard of is going to be your third backup offensive lineman on game day, which is going to be a little bit scary. But they're getting there. They did sign an offensive lineman today. They worked out and signed a guy.
Not named Flowers, which a lot of people keep wanting to see come back.
Which caused Troy.
I should have hit up Jen Leno and was like, yo, give E. Flowers a call.
Yeah.
She was
caused,
like, I'm going to talk to his wife. But we'll see
that signing of the offensive lineman cost Troy Apke a roster spot. So
which is crap, man.
That's who they decided to let go off the practice squad was Troy Apke,
which
is Trev's guy. So
yeah,
that's the old line.
Trev loves himself some Trapke there. K80 with some might just be KD, but Titans missing best offensive lineman, best receiver, and one of the best pass rushers, and urging Washington to take advantage of that. Trev, did you bring up their side of the list there as well?
No, I can, but also earlier I read that their rushing defense after their game 1 win has been poopy the past 3 games, allowing almost like 100 yards. No, you're good. And then their passing defense is 4th in yards allowed right now in the NFL, which means they don't have a passing defense either. So
you mean 4th worst?
Yeah, 4th worst. Yeah. So we should feast.
Yeah, their defense. If you look at all their stats, they are poopy. And you can say what you want about last year. They were the number 1 seed in the playoffs, right? Ooh. They had the best record. But this year, they have been absolutely horrendous, even though they've won their last 2 games. Who's on their injury report, Trev?
Ola Adinyi. He's the outside linebacker. Treylon Burks, Arkansas's finest.
He's not playing.
Zach Cunningham, linebacker, not practiced. Bud Dupree, stud outside linebacker. He's played all year, right?
No, he did. He played last week.
Okay. Joe Jones, linebacker. And then Amani Hooker, safety's limited, and Troy Carter, another fullback, is limited, and then Amadi, a defensive back, is full participant.
Yeah. I want to throw some stats out at y'all.
I'm sorry. I want to add to ours too. Milo Eifler is on the DNP.
Right. Not Milo.
And Percy Butler for quad DNP.
Yeah, Butler was out.
Okay.
Yep. Tennessee's offense. They're the 29th ranked offense in the NFL.
Let's go.
Poopy. Their defense overall, 26th.
Oh.
Okay. They are basically terrible. They won their first 2, or they lost their first 2 games, right? They lost to a Giants team that's won 3 games. I don't know how they did that. I mean, the Giants are 3-1.
Two other teams managed to lose to the Giants.
Against the Titans. So
yeah. And then their second game, they also lost to the Bills. They got blown out by the Bills, like 41-7, I think. And then the next 2 games that they won, they beat the Raiders, who've won 1 game all year. And last week they beat the Colts, who've won 1 game all year.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a scary team that you have to deal with. Every one of their stats for team stats are in the 20s, except for their rushing defense, which is 19th. Everything is 20th. And believe it or not, almost every single team stat, their team is below Washington's. And I'm talking offense, I'm talking passing, I'm talking rushing, I'm talking scoring. Not scoring is actually the one that they're ahead, but just barely. But all of them, they're worse than Washington in all the team stats. So I don't see why people are saying that this is a game that Washington should be scared of. Right? What has Washington done?
Not scared, but I mean, you're pointing out how bad Tennessee is. But have you forgotten how bad Washington's looked the last, 2.5 games?
Yeah.
They've not looked great. So where is it? And I'm definitely going to get to the Great Watubi's question there that Trev pulled up. But where is it that they can exploit Tennessee?
Passing defense.
Yes, absolutely.
I think if we air it out, not like conservatively, I mean, take the layups, of course, but don't make the layup your first choice. Only take it if it's there. I think we should air it out. They have that Caleb Farley kid who I liked, who was a nice cornerback from Tech. I don't know if he's that good or not, but air it out. They allow the fourth worst passing defense.
Yep.
In 4 weeks. Air it out. We have the weapons to do it even without Jahan Dotson. It's De'Ami Brown season, whether people like it or not. I still believe in De'Ami. He had a rough training camp. I mean, his confidence probably went down a little bit once they saw they drafted Jahan Dotson and how good he was, because he was supposed to be that.
De'Ami, a wonderful wide receiver 4 or 5.
I mean, he could be our RW. I mean, WR3. He had Taylor Heineke. You don't know that. I mean, he had Sam Howell to Taylor Heineke. I'd probably be the same way.
I just don't see him unseating the big 3.
No. On our squad, no, but on some like the Texans, he could be a 2 or 3. But anyway, so I still have faith in De'Ami Brown, and I think we should air it out against this pass defense. For real. Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee gives up 274 passing yards a game.
Oh, come on, man.
Like you said, that's 28.
Carson
That's
should
fourth
go for
worst.
damn near 400 on Sunday.
And Washington's offense, their passing offense is ranked 17th. Carson, 230 yards a game. So
that's only because we've been sacked 35,000 times in the past.
That it's not higher. Games. Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to do what you said you were going to do against Philadelphia. You did it. You said we got to stop them from running the ball.
Yeah,
we're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us. Now he did, but that's what the game
plan. Ryan Tannehill beat us. That's going to be.
And this past week, they said we're going to stop that rushing attack for Dallas, and we're going to make Cooper Rush beat us. And he did, but they did stop the opposing run. They have to stop Derrick Henry. Yeah, and if Ryan Tannehill beats you,
that's a large task.
If Ryan Tannehill beats you,
it's time to
panic button.
So to answer this question from the Great Watubi, is this a must-win game?
Oh yes. Teams that start 1-4 don't make the playoffs. If they do, we got to have that math problem like we did last year. The Saints and the have to lose in order for us to get this spot. We got to beat them, and then that team in that conference has to lose in order for us to. We don't. Yeah. I'm not going to go through that again. If we're 1-4, season's not over, but it's over.
Again, when you look at the stats for Tennessee, this is a winnable game, and I understand that Washington hasn't played a winnable type or a winning type game the last couple of games. That's totally understandable. But you can make adjustments, and this is a winnable type game.
And you're at home.
If they shoot themselves in the foot, for penalties or give up 9 sacks. Somebody was saying this. Commandalorian was saying, if all that happens, you're not going to win. But this is a winnable game. And then the next week against the Bears, that's a winnable game.
Oh, my God.
Right? This team should be 3-3 after week 6.
And if they're not, Titans are favored in this game, by the way.
Like 2.5.
Vegas, 2.5 points in Vegas.
Of course they are.
That's understandable.
It's a home game. You usually get 3 points as the home team.
Hey, if you look at the ESPN predictor model,
that one actually has Washington nearly 60-40 on that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got
Redskins Weekly in the chat. Thanks for joining us here. He agrees with you, but Tennessee's won 2 straights. They have the momentum and a better coach. He says.
They
I'm sure about the better coach.
The momentum is good until you snap the ball on Sunday. Right? You know what I mean? I mean that's a real. I believe in momentum. That's a real thing, but it doesn't mean that they're going to win the rest of their games.
Right.
And Washington is in a rut. Momentum is the opposite, but that doesn't mean they're going to lose the rest of their games.
That's a very good point too, Trout. If we can't beat Tennessee, and we do get to the playoffs, we can't win in the playoffs if we can't beat a team like Tennessee.
Yeah, you have to win these. And this is where I was at the beginning of the year, where I was like, we're going to win, 10, maybe 11 games. But the games we're going to lose are going to be against good teams. We're going to be a paper playoff team, a paper tiger, right? But that's still improvement. You're supposed to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, right? And
Yeah.
Tennessee is lined up for Washington to beat. So my question is, and when it comes down to it, Washington has to hold Derrick Henry. You're not what would you consider containing Derrick Henry?
Oh, he's got to rush for under 90 yards. Under 80 yards. Under 80 yards.
I mean, that would be ideal, but
how many had last week?
He had 82 against the Giants, 25 against Buffalo, 85 against Las Vegas, and 114 against Indianapolis.
Yeah. I think if you keep him right there, if you keep him under 120, I think you're doing yourself you're helping yourself out for this game. I think 120 is the mark. If he has one of his, his games that he tends to have every once in a while and he gets up there in the 180s,
we can't let that man Josh Norman us in our house.
Right.
I ain't trying to be a meme on SportsCenter for the rest of the season.
Right.
And talking about stiff arms. I'm not trying to have none of our players on there. So Kendall Fuller, you better wrap the hell up or just get the hell out of the way, because I'm not trying to have you embarrass us.
I'll tell you the one that I'm worried about, but I want to give a shout out to Authentic and the Beard in the chat. Pretty sure it's the Beard joining us as he usually does, but they have amazing content out on their channel. Make sure you head out there and subscribe to their channel, because they are just amazing. I got a few things from your last one where I was just like writing down some notes, and it's like we gotta start copying these guys, because these guys got the best television show not on television. Rockman, they have to gang tackle them. Ant Jones believes in the defense. This defense has been able to hold the opposing rushing teams, and then Philadelphia is a legit rushing team, and Zeke and Pollard are a good duo, and they've been able to hold those two. Even if you look at the games against Jacksonville and Detroit, where they did not have a great run defense, if you look at it at a whole, if you actually look at it, though, there were two big plays that they gave up in Detroit. Outside of that, they had a great run defense that
Absolutely
game.
They did.
And Jacksonville was very much the same thing. And this is where King Henry, we're saying keep him to 80 yards, but if he busts out like a 40-yard touchdown run on us, can't that do in Washington? They haven't been able to put points on the board.
I think he's due for one of those every time because he's King Henry. But I think we can't let it happen more than just that one time, obviously, because then we're toast. But he is due for one at least every other game. But
he scored the touchdown the last 3 games.
We can do it. And since we're talking about rush defense, I kind of want to segue to the Jonathan Allen thing real quick and his comments.
We're going to do that.
Oh, are we doing that?
Cool down. We're going to do that.
Cool down. Okay. Well, we can stop the run with Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. Like all these teams that have these threatening running attacks outside the big plays run nowhere because of those two guys up front.
They are absolute beasts up front. My worry is with Cole Holcomb.
Me too.
Holcomb gets run over all the time. Whenever you see him tackle, like Jamin Davis, he tackles like you want a linebacker, right? He wraps up and he's pushing that guy forward. Every time I see Cole Holcomb tackle somebody, he's like he wraps them up, but he's like letting them drag him.
Yes, every time.
And you can't. I'm sorry, Derrick Henry's not going to just drag you for like a yard and a half or a couple yards. Derrick Henry's going to drag you half the field. You're going to lose that mullet the way he's going to drag you.
That's why our 5 front or 4-man front, they can't let him get to the second level, because if he does, he's gone. That's the key. Right. You can't let him get to the second and third levels because he's gone. Bobby McCain and St. Juice, all them little boys are not tackling King Henry. They're not. Yeah. So if our front 4 or 5, whatever front we run, can't stop them, then we're toast.
Well, they have been the last 2 weeks, so hopefully they can keep that up.
Yeah, I do feel like they're going to be able to contain him for most of the game, but he's going to get his. Now, if you're able to contain him, as a lot of people are saying, 80 yards, 100 yards, they're expecting Washington to win. Do we have faith in the defensive backs to hold down Ryan Tannehill in that offense? We mentioned their top wide receiver in Tennessee do we have faith in this defense in the
do.
back seven to hold them down?
I do. I know.
That
You
is
do?
something.
Trev has faith.
You
do a
have
little
faith
bit.
in Kendall Fuller, Trev?
No, but outside, no, but I do, because those 2 picks we had, the penalties came off the ball somewhere else. It wasn't like the actual play itself.
Well,
Benjamin
that's not true.
Was St. Juice held?
The St.
Oh, yeah,
Juice was
okay.
the one that held the guy, and then he
playing
picked
a
it
lot
up.
better.
Yeah,
And
sure.
Ryan Tannehill will give us the ball. So if our back end is disciplined, we should get at least 2 picks from Tannehill. I mean, that's what he does. When they stop
Keep the
run,
flags in the pocket.
he tries to be a hero in the passing game, and he throws the ball away. A la playoffs last year, a la playoffs every year they get there. He throws the game away, literally. So I think if we're disciplined this game, we should be able to create some turnovers. You just got to stay disciplined and communicative in the back end, and we should, for real, make Tannehill have a bad day. For real.
And do not sleep. Do not sleep on Ryan Tannehill's athleticism and ability to run the ball.
True.
When he gets in trouble, he can run the ball, and he is very athletic, and he is a weapon when he does. He's very similar to like a Daniel Jones, who you don't really, I mean, as a defense, you want him in that pocket throwing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But if they get outside that pocket, you're in trouble.
He's not afraid to grab those chunk yards, right?
Oh,
like the 5-10 yard runs.
Yep. He's
which
going to
will
do a lot
eat
of
you
that.
up. Will absolutely eat you up. So yeah, some contain there, which Washington has had some issues with that. I feel better about where Jamin Davis is at this point of the season because he has some speed, and if Ryan Tannehill dares to venture out, I think he's going to slide. Well, hopefully for his sake, he slides like Jalen Hurts did to avoid Jamin Davis coming in there with the big hit. Shout out to some of those people joining us in the chat. We got Ed Oliver, Caleb, we got Big Simple, and Uptown Dre. Ant Jones, I mentioned a comment for he believes in the defense. So thanks everyone for joining us. Make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that. And I'm going to give Manscaped one more shout out here. Head to manscaped.com. Use the code REF. You get 20% off. Free shipping. Good stuff out there on manscaped.com. That Trev's showing up the nose trimmer, the weed whacker, as it's called. All right. So the defense we seem to have a little faith in. I've mentioned a couple times this offense. You guys are saying that, they have a poor passing defense and that it's time to air it out. Jahan Dotson's going to be out.
Yeah.
Trev, you say that it's De'Ami Brown's season. I don't know if I have faith in that because you've said it's Trappy season like the last 2 years, and now he's not even on the team. But I'm sorry to pick on you for that one. I'm picking man.
Play receiver.
Salt in the wound. Anyways, Trev, this offense has been putrid the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Why do you think they're going to be able to turn around against Tennessee?
Well, I know call me whatever you want to call me, but Ron Rivera's pissed off. The man said it himself. And he's been very candid in his interviews and post-game interviews. But the one with JP Finley the day after we lost, he wasn't too candid. He was pissed off. He said he's pissed off and frustrated. The whole team is pissed off and frustrated. You heard it in J.A.'s voice too. We'll get to that later. I think we're going to gel with this offensive line. If we just protect Carson Wentz, we can do whatever we want. That's why the offense looks putrid, and that's why people say, oh, Carson Wentz, yes, he holds on to the ball a few times. He doesn't know when to throw it away at times. But for the most part, he doesn't have a chance to do anything for the most part. And, that goes for any team. Look what Aaron Rodgers does. He has no receivers, quote unquote, but he has a clean pocket to do whatever the hell he wants to do to make his receivers be receivers. We don't have a clean pocket. That's all you need. And once we have even a glimpse of that, you're going to get your sacks. It's the NFL. But, that man doesn't even have time to do anything because he's too worried about running for his life. So I think if the offensive line can just get some continuity this game, which I think we can with Cornelius Lucas is a familiar face. Sadiq Charles is familiar.
Who had a really good game last week and filling in for
the most part, yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. There's a couple things that he needs to work on.
Arkin's a good backup for Chase. He was pretty good before he got hurt. Norwell's decent, and he's not bad. And then Leno. So I think this is the most continuity we've had in offensive line since week 1 which I think will give us confidence of why we can just get a playoff. If we can just get a playoff, man, who knows what would happen? And like you said, Nathan, let's put Diami in motion. Let's get the defense moving around. Look to see what kind of defense they're in. If they're in man or not. Like, do some audibles. Like, do a real game plan and give Carson Wentz time to throw the ball. Sky's the limit with this offense, man. I'm telling you, it is.
I think there's two things to add on to what Trev made some excellent points there. But one thing is we've got to stop having this empty backfield with Carson back there in a shotgun all by himself. Number one, you're passing the ball. Number two, you've got nobody to help with protection on Carson, right? You don't have a back there to help. So get rid of that no back set, okay? That's one thing. But two, I went back and watched the first half of the Jacksonville game, the first game. And Curtis Samuel, by the end of that first half, probably had to be dead tired because all he was doing in that first half on offense was running in motion all over the place. Before the snap, during the snap, after the snap, he's running back, in front of Carson, behind Carson. He was everywhere. He was lined up in the backfield. He was lined up in the slot. He was lined up out wide. I mean, even that touchdown that he caught, right? If you remember, he started in motion left, right? And just before he snapped it, he came back right, and he's going quick right, and then they snap it. You got no chance to stop that. Nobody has a chance to stop that when Carson puts it right on the money. And he did, and he reached over. Where has that been? Where has that been since that Jacksonville game? Why have they abandoned all of that movement in the backfield that confuses the defense? But I also noticed his pocket in those first two drives. Was clean as clean can be. He just stood back there and waited for the routes to develop and then put dimes out there. And if he can do that, I mean, if they can give him that time, like Trev was saying, he's going to be able to pick them apart. But that's the key. Can they do that? And ever since then, they haven't had clean pockets, and they haven't had all those pre-snap movements. Where's that gone? You remember that long throw to Gibson in that Jacksonville game?
Yeah,
long throw down the right side that was just perfect.
Running back. Yeah,
Gibson was on his left. Samuel was on his right in the shotgun. He snaps it. Gibson goes up the middle. He fakes it to Samuel that holds those linebackers, and Gibson goes running right past them. Where is that? Where has that creativity gone? Now it's like Carson just stands back there and snaps the ball, and then it's like, oh crap, here comes everybody, and then the play.
Well, we saw some of that this last week, right? We know why the game plan was back to the Taylor Heineke game plan last week against Dallas, with all the short passes and everything.
They
all
THP.
They all got shell shocked. It's not just Carson Wentz. It was Scott Turner. It was this offensive line who they're already starting on their back foot, right? They're already backpedaling. And so the game plan was to not have 9 sacks again against Dallas. And so everything was played close to the line. Now, with that, you have to take those middle shots. You have to take those deep shots. And he just wasn't connecting on those. And so, maybe against a team like Tennessee, which doesn't have a Micah Parsons, doesn't have a Lawrence, and their best pass rusher is potentially going to be out of this game.
But
then this is where I think you can bring back some of that. And you need that. This is one of those things that has been talked about Carson Wentz. And Stoner, I know you got a theory on Carson Wentz you're going to tell us here in a little bit.
Oh, boy.
Not only do we know that he needs a clean pocket, but it's been said since the beginning, since he's been traded, Washington needs to build up his confidence. That's what Carson Wentz is lacking. He doesn't trust himself anymore. And you see that. And you saw that against Dallas. And you saw that against Philadelphia. He second guesses himself. If that man double flipping clutches another ball, I just want to go down to the field and personally slap him. And he's right. He knows, like, if he lets it loose that first time, I'm guaranteeing you 90% of the time that's going to be a good completion. But instead, he does this like jolt, and then he's just like, oh, I don't know what to do, as a sack, or he throws it away, or he makes a bad decision.
Yeah.
He's got to start trusting himself. And the line does have to give him time. The line was not giving him time. We'll see if that is what they can do here against Tennessee. I just don't know that I personally have faith. And we'll get to the game predictions and in the cool down when it comes to that, because we'll also do that with some Dolla-Dolla there. But Stoner, you have a Carson Wentz theory here.
Yeah, and it's a serious theory, and I want you guys to kind of hear it out and see what you think of this. And this is my theory of why Carson has been either, you can say he hasn't, what's the right word? What's the word I used in the tweet? That you can either call it an excuse of why he hasn't been good or an explanation. That's the words I use. Mm-hmm. Is this an explanation or is this an excuse of why he has not been good so far? If you remember, the whole story has always been about when Carson Wentz came here, this is his third team in 3 years, right? The other two teams didn't want him. That's been played out. Totally understandable, right? But let's not forget what we sort of overlook with that. This is his third offense in 3 years. This is his third complete offense that he's had to learn in the last 3 years, right? It's a new offensive coordinator, new receivers, new running backs, new centers, new offensive line, protections, game plans. All that's completely different that he's had to learn. So he goes into OTAs and he doesn't have all of his weapons there, right? Some guys are not practicing, like Logan Thomas wasn't practicing in OTAs. Terry McLaurin sat out OTAs. Samuel had a couple of times in OTAs that he was there. So he didn't have the full practice with those guys. Then you get to training camp, right? Still, Logan Thomas is not practicing during training camp. But again, he's learning the offense. Every day he's learning. But here's the big issue, I think. In practice, every single day, he's practicing against the same Washington defense, okay? The exact same guys every single day. And it doesn't matter if it's the Washington defense or if you're playing or if you got the 2000 Ravens defense back there or a Pee Wee team. If you're playing them every single day, you're going to start learning tendencies of guys. You're going to know what guys do well, what plays work against the same freaking defense every day. They did not bring in another team for joint practices. So he's got no live fire, no live bullets that he's had to go out there and work against, seeing different guys, right? He knows what Kendall Fuller is good at and what he's not good at. And he can adjust to make himself feel good and to make the offense move down the field because he knows what Kendall Fuller is going to do because he's seen it day in, day out. He's seen it on the film, all of that stuff, right? So there's no joint practices. Then they go into the preseason. You've cut the preseason from 4 down to 3, which means the starters go from 3 games down to only playing 2 games. And in those 2 games, he played 6 series. Okay? He played basically a half against a different defense that he could sit there and learn and go back into the rooms and work with people he's never worked with before. Scott Turner, the quarterback's coach, Zampese, the receivers on how they're going to adjust it. He only played 6 series. He's played a half. And then all of a sudden he's out there and he's playing these games against the live bullets and he doesn't have a full grasp of the offense and he's learning. It's a slow development. It's slow progress. It's going to come. I don't know if it's going to come at a certain point where they're going to start winning games. I don't know, but it's going to come because he is still learning this offense and still learning what his receivers do well against live bullets, against linebackers that he's never seen before. And that's why he has had this slow start. And second of all, just one sort of thing to add to that is that there are 7 quarterbacks that are playing on new teams this year, right? Playing that came from a new team that are starting. There are 7 in the NFL this year, and I'm going to name them for you. Of course, you've got Carson Wentz.
Yes, he did.
You've got Russell Wilson.
He did.
You've got Jacoby Brissett. You've got Marcus Mariota, Matt Ryan, Mitch Trubisky, and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
that's
they're all playing poopy.
Mitch
and they're
Trubisky's already
all-
been benched. Baker
they're
Mayfield,
all-
he can't get benched because there's no one back there.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's on injured reserve.
He's back.
He's not playing. Baker Mayfield's playing.
He can play. He can come back though. It's been 4 weeks.
No, but I'm saying that there are 7 quarterbacks
Yeah.
that are playing for new
They're
teams,
all-
and they're
they're all
all
bad.
playing poopy,
They are.
right? None of their teams are better than 2-2.
Nope.
Okay, Russell Wilson has not looked good in Denver.
No, he is
He's
not.
not. Matt Ryan, a
Stop
Hall of
letting him
Famer,
cook.
just
Yeah.
like Russell Wilson, has
Russell
not
Wilson.
played well in
He
Indy.
knows better than us.
Mariota has not played well.
Yeah,
None of
yeah.
them have played well.
Matt Mariota's not played well. They
That's
are
what
2-2. That's not
That's not playing well.
Look at what he's
They
been
had more
doing.
wins than us.
That's
Okay.
not
That's not saying
not a
anything.
huge feat there. Okay, let's not.
Jacoby
let's not-
Brissett is probably playing the best out of any of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
And so the whole point is these guys, they need some more time. They
Yeah.
haven't they have less training camp than they've ever had because of the rules, the less OTAs, less preseason games, no joint practices, at least for in Washington's case. He just needs more time to learn this offense and learn how to adjust and learn what his other players do. That's all I'm saying. So that's my theory of why he hasn't played well, or you can call it an excuse, whatever. And I saw somebody said, well, Tom Brady came in his first year and won a Super Bowl.
It's
Okay,
Tom Brady.
that's Tom Brady. And if you look at his start, I don't think his start of that particular year was all that great. Okay, it takes time, and that's all I'm saying. Give it a little bit more time is all I'm saying. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be better, but give it more time.
And to piggyback on you, the same offensive line that lined up with him every day in OTAs and training camp has been completely different since week 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's had to play with people he's never played before in his entire life, a la Zach Martin, a la some other tackles, a la people that were on the team last year. So there's no gel between the offensive line and the quarterback since week 1. So I agree with that, Stoner. Yeah, I know people are saying he's not a rookie. It's just, but like
it's his third offense in 3 years.
Yeah, the quarterback is the most important position on the football team.
And most difficult.
The most difficult. To learn a completely different system in 3 years, it's harder than what it sounds. Yeah, it's easy for us to sit back and say, well, he's a professional, he should do that. But like,
it's just not easy.
But it wasn't a new system in Indianapolis because that's actually why they picked him up, because that was his coach, right? That's kind of, they're supposed to be the familiarity in the offense.
That's fine too, but you still got to adjust.
It's still new offense
players.
Exactly. There's still some adjustment period. I'm more
line.
in line with Dave and EP. You have a lot of believers in this one, but I feel like he should be playing better. I get that, a lot of these QBs that have moved to new teams aren't playing good, but he needs to be playing better for Washington right now.
Sure.
And that's not happening. And some of those decisions, like, I can see it, right? I see the timing thing that you're talking about. I see about his struggles within the offense, Stoner. So I can agree and I see that. But then I just see some bonehead plays that are just Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
he is at this point, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's where Scott Turner comes in play, needs to mitigate that. You know who he is. You guys were the ones who went out and traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
You're the ones who are game planning with him. You need to be able to game plan, better for that is where I'm coming from. And I'm going to real quick switch. I know we're probably going to bring back Carson Wentz talk here, but Roger has been in the chat a couple times with the running the ball. I agree, Roger, that they need to be running the ball, and they know it. And if you actually look at the play calling through even the Dallas game, they ran as much as they were throwing. And then they got behind 15 plus points, and running the ball is not going to help you anymore. You need to be able to pass it. But they have passed the ball 172 times, and they've ran 98 times. But if you actually look at the game, it's a lot closer, but they've just been getting the bricks blown off of them.
Yeah,
but you're not going to that early where they have had to abandon the run. Even then, you still see them make an attempt to do a run. How frustrated were we at the end of the first half in Dallas when they ran a draw play and then didn't bother doing a timeout? Like they still have this blind commitment to the run when they don't need it, and that can be very frustrating. Yeah, and Grayson popping out here. Thanks, Grayson, for joining. I saw that you said it's been a long time. We appreciate you coming back. They ran for 140 plus yards against Dallas.
Yeah.
So I do feel like they have a commitment to the run, and Brian Robinson being back, I think, is going to be an additional weapon. We'll see how he is on the field, but we'll see. By the way, Stoner, like out of all the analogies you can come with, you went with live bullets for my man Carson Wentz on the day B-Rob comes back to
I didn't even know
That's a reach. That's a reach.
Hey, who am I, Stoner?
Huh?
Who am I? I'm reaching.
Yeah. That's a reach to try and put those two together. Now, when Ron Rivera said, what did he say when he was talking about Robinson is going to be a real shot in the arm?
Yeah.
Shot in the arm. Now that's kind of an odd thing to say, but to try and say when I say your live bullets just happens to be on the day that he practiced, that's a reach.
I do.
If he got shot today,
people are in the comments talking about the lack thereof of Terry McLaurin, and I agree and disagree to this. I agree because there have been so many plays where Carson doesn't even look Terry's way. Yeah, but there are some plays where he doesn't have time to look Terry's way. Yeah. But yes, and the times where he does have time, he just doesn't. He's doing a lot of staring down right now.
He has been doing a lot of that, which is affecting the play all the way around. But Trev. Cooper Kupp had like 10 catches on Monday Night Football. They kept feeding him.
14.
Isn't that 14 catches?
14 on 19 targets.
Yeah,
Allen on 19 targets. A no-show, and Van Jefferson's a no-show, so they have to throw to Cooper Kupp.
We know Terry can produce. Why not feed him?
Yeah.
I don't
find ways, right? This is what
I don't know.
Maybe about Cooper Kupp in motion, and all of a sudden he's up against a linebacker. If you put Terry McLaurin on a linebacker, you know how many yards this guy's going to get?
Well, first, I don't know. But this is where the disconnect from the OTAs of Terry not being there, and this is showing up. Like, we don't know. I mean, it's easy for us to say because we're not on the field. Maybe he is looking at Terry, and Terry's just not getting open. I mean, some plays we see that Terry's open, but I'm not going to lie. Say what you want. Trevon Diggs trapped him. I mean, he did. He did. Nathan, I know that one interception was a lollipop pass. Gavin could have got it too with his eyes closed. I know, but at the same time, Terry was strapped all game. I mean,
not all game, but yes, for the most part. Yeah.
When he was being looked at, yes,
he does need to get more targets. Maybe that's Scott Turner's fault. Maybe that's Carson's fault. We don't know. It's a whole bunch of things combined, but we do need to get Terry involved more. That way we can free up others for the offense.
Well, when Terry was out, Carson developed a good rapport with Jahan Dotson. And all the reports coming out of camp were that Dotson and Wentz.
And you can see he's got 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns.
It was like this. So that may be the connection. But now Dotson's not here. So maybe
we'll get
Carson starts looking for Terry a little bit more. But yeah. You know what I would do here? I had my sort of well thought out theory. Here's my wackadoo theory right here. Okay. Put 9 guys on the offensive line. All right. Put Carson in shotgun, put Terry out wide, and just have a 1-man route and let Terry burn a couple of guys and throw it to Terry every time.
Yeah.
You had a nice clean pocket, 9 guys. You can have 4 guys covering Terry. They can't cover him.
I have a question. Question here.
Yeah.
Is it in our offense the reason why our quarterbacks don't audible at the line of scrimmage? Have you noticed that?
Look, Trev, I think that goes back to my theory. He doesn't have a grasp of this offense yet.
Taylor didn't audible. Who's before Taylor? Alex Smith kind of barely didn't. Haskins kind of really didn't. We don't really audible at the line of scrimmage. And
that could be a Scott Turner thing too.
Yeah, we really don't. We don't even even do this or act like we're audibly. We don't even do that. We
even fake it. Even fake inaudible.
We point to 57, and then here comes 57. So it's I mean, but we don't actually
How about this, Trev? Just go up to the line and kind of look around and just yell something out of the blue.
I want to see the defense go
462 means nothing.
I know you guys watched this. Kansas City. Did you guys watch that Kansas City Chiefs goal line play where the tight end came and took the snap?
Yeah.
What? That was beautiful, and it worked. Pat Mahomes got the defense talking. They didn't even see the tight end come in and snap the.
Yeah.
Why can't we do something like that? We
did a couple years ago. Remember Logan did that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Remember that? He came in there and snapped it.
And now, speaking of Logan Thomas, that man is not 100%.
He's not. He's not.
Every route he runs, after the catch, my man was getting ready to hurdle and was like, never mind. Like, he's just slow. He's ready to fall down a lot right after the catch. Not looking to gain any more yards.
He's north of 30, coming back from a knee injury. He is not the same player right now. Maybe later this season we'll see him. A lot of people calling for Cole Turner. We'll see if that's ever going to happen. But they like what Armani Rogers is bringing to the table.
What the hell they like about Armani Rogers?
I would like to see more from Rogers, honestly. With Logan being as gimpy as he is right now.
Special teams, brother.
Yeah, special teams is exactly where
Armani Rogers is a fantastic special teamer.
Give Great Watubi another shout out here. Thanks for the donation. I need to put a sound thing in here for
I told you. Go
you should have kept Troy Apke. He's special teams.
I don't know if you guys can even hear that. But
put Cole Turner in there. I mean, we used Armani Rogers once on the offensive side. He ran in motion for God knows what reason. Like, that was going to fool anybody. And then what's he doing special teams for real? What's he do?
Seriously, Trev, watch the special teams play.
Armani Rogers is doing real well there. Great Ratubi here. I watch a lot of NFL. I always see defenses with free men, untouched, getting through on defense, but never us, poor schemes. There's been a lot of times where we've seen a free wide receiver. We see it because we have the benefit of seeing the whole field. Carson Wentz isn't seeing the whole field right now. And I think that kind of goes into Stoner's theory there, just not not where he needs to be. Yeah, Cole Turner looks the part.
He can't even beat out Armani Rogers. Sorry,
can't be Armani Rogers.
That's not.
So Armani Rogers is there. We know for special teams, they've said that he's liked the way he's come around as a blocker, and they can use him as a effective wide receiver. Bates, we know, is in there because, as Stoner loves to point out, he's practically another tackle.
That's the solution.
Great
move him to tackle.
No,
right?
You
then
like
you can
Lucas.
bring up Cole Turner.
Yeah. And then you got Logan Thomas, who is the vet who knows this offense, knows how to get himself open. He's just a bit slower. And yeah, Aaron, I agree with you here. I think it's Cole Turner needs to work on his blocking. He is a move tight end.
We didn't even get to see him do that. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, you didn't even give that man a chance.
You know what? I hear that. I saw him.
He's bad at blocking.
I saw him in practice. I was super impressed with him up close.
Yeah,
but those coaches see him every single day, and he can't beat out those. And if he comes up and he replaces Armani Rogers, well, he can't do what Armani Rogers can do on special teams, and they need that.
Well, what the hell happens if Armani Rogers gets hurt on special teams? Well, he doesn't play that.
Right. Then they'll figure out something else, but then you're going to be less efficient on special teams because of that. And if you don't have to be, then stick with what you got.
I'm pretty sure we could find somebody else to take. That's a very good point. We need a move tight end because we don't have any move tight ends. That's what Cole Turner was. And I'm pretty sure
Doug's saying we need to move the ball, put in the move tight end.
Armani Rogers. Like, come on, there's got to be someone else.
Dave, Cole Turner did get injured during the preseason, and then he has not been able to win his job back because the team has been impressed with what Armani Rogers is bringing to the table. So we'll see. You know, there's a lot of other questions in here that I'm going to get to.
John Bostic will get some reps this Sunday.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Okay, so John Bostic, Milo Eifler is out, so we're going to see some John Bostic Sunday.
Well, you didn't see Milo Eifler except for special teams.
Okay,
that's where you see Bostic.
So no, you're not going to see John Bostic unless somebody gets hurt. That's the only reason he has a roster spot, is he's there as an emergency. That's it. And as he's a good locker room guy and he's a good team player, but
he's a tackler too.
No, he's not going to be out there unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah. Last question before we move down to the cool down from Grayson here. Do you think either Robinson or Larson play Sunday, and does it help?
Yes. I'm going to say yes. Tyler
Larson.
To
both?
Yes, Tyler Larson has been a backup center for us for a few years. He's done a tremendous job. He just can't stay healthy, but when he's healthy, he's great. And that brings some more continuity for the rest of the guys on the line. Maybe not Carson Wentz so much, but with everybody else on the line, which is great. And Brian Robinson, yeah, he can take that Jonathan Williams role that we saw last week, and that can provide Gibby to be more of that spread running back receiver that he was in week one. He took some snaps directly in the backfield and then lined up in the slot and, did some route running at that. So I think that would help and take the load off of Gibby and make him perform to his skill set rather than being the workhorse.
If they feel that Brian Robinson is healthy enough to play, right, then he's going to play, right? And if he's going to play, he's going to make a difference because he stole that number one running back spot from Antonio Gibson in training camp. Yeah. So he's obviously I wouldn't say difference maker, but he improves the offensive backfield.
Yeah. I think that Brian Robinson will play. I don't know that he's going to start, but he will play. I don't think Larson plays. I think
I'm with you, actually, Nathan, on that.
Yeah, I think that they're going to keep Larson sidelined at least one more game. Maybe they like what they see out of Martin as the center right now, and Larson stays as a backup. But Brian Robinson will be on a pitch count, which great with Tubi coming here again with the super chat. Of course, we appreciate that. Great with Tubi here.
There's your sound effect.
I disagree, Roger. We're only pass happy is because we're getting blown the hell out in the first half in every game, so we have to be pass happy.
Yeah, right. And we talked about that with Roger just before, right? Like if you looked at that Dallas game, they had 22 rushes, 22 passes. They were effective running the ball, but then they start the second half and they're down 2-3 scores.
Down 15.
So you gotta change it up. So great with Tubi here is a great question. But we're going to answer that when we get to the game because we will be bringing you Dolla-Dolla. We're also going to be talking about Jonathan Allen's comments and Ron Rivera's comments. All that is coming in the cool down, which I'm assuming I'm going to play the cool down too.
Yeah.
The cool down is brought to you by Manscaped. Ever since my Nathan started using their products, I can't cool down. Fellas, trust me. Go to Manscaped right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code REF. Your ladies will appreciate you. Now back to Trev, Stoner, and my Manscaped man, Nathan.
Love it. Oh, man. I love it. That was great.
Trev?
That was
Nathan
great.
Loves it.
So for our audio listeners, you don't get those clips. I don't think we clip those out or we keep those in.
No, they're in there.
Keep them there. Okay,
yeah.
So you heard that amazingness, which is it's funny that we're having to block the spam bots while we're listening. That was pretty interesting. So great with Tubi with a donation. We do have super chat open. Always appreciate people doing that. Just make sure that you've also liked this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching the replay of this, if you're watching it later, leave a comment. Answer these questions. We engaged with those comments afterwards, so make sure that you're getting in there. But he's going to start off for Dolla-Dolla here. B-Rob, 10 carries over or under Sunday. I'm going to go 10.5, so there's no push here.
Okay. I'm going over. I think he's going, if he's playing, that's the key. Like,
okay, we can put that stipulation so that way you don't miss the under because of that.
If he plays, I think they're going to feed him the rock quite a bit. He's going to be your number one ball carrier, and Gibby and is going to have a couple carries here and there. But I would look to him to have. I mean, the question is over 10, right? But I would look to him over 15.
Wow, so you're definitely taking the over at 10.5.
Anyone
Uptown
want
Dre is on the over. Scotty is on the over. Aaron is on the under. Where are you at,
you guys going under?
10.5 carries. So that way there's no push. 10.5 carries over under that for Brian Robinson if he plays. Steven's taking the under.
I'm going to take
That's a really good one. Roger's saying it's not going to happen. Dave is taking the over.
Great with Tubi is even going under.
Yeah. Great Ratubi's taking over the 10.5.
Oh, this is so
What
If
are
he
you
plays,
doing, Nathan?
Bonafide Picker says if he plays, take the over. I'm taking the under.
All right, there's
I'm
one under.
I'm going to take the under as well because
I think they are going to have him on a pitch count.
I think it'll be
And
10 at the most too, honestly.
And I think that he's going to hit right at 10. and Stoner's going to be pleading when we're doing our live chat. Strev, I think you're going to the game, but when we do our live stream watch party, Stoner's going to be pleading at the end that they just give him one more carry, and you're going to see Jonathan Williams come out and lose your dang on mind.
All right, so Stone's got the over, and Trevor Nathan got.
That's a great one. Let's get into some more game predictions as we wrap up our Tennessee talk before we move on to some of the comments that the players and coaches have made.
Which one are we doing first?
So we're doing Dolla-Dolla right now. We're finishing up Dolla-Dolla, Tennessee. So we had the over under. What's another one you got for us, Stoner? What's a good game prediction? Chaotic, which I believe is how this is actually pronounced. Good call
chaotic.
on Doc.
Got it.
Chaotic. Terry has a monster game, 126 yards on 8 receptions, 2 TDs.
Well, I mean, I'm going like under.
I'm going to say no to that. I'll take the under. I do think Terry's going to have a great game. I don't know that he's going to get quite to 2 touchdowns.
240 passing yards for Carson Wentz.
240 passing yards. I will say that he gets at least that. Absolutely. And great with Tubi went with 225 on that.
220. I say 240.
We got a lot of unders here. Under for Malcatone. Under for maybe these are for the chaotic one there. We're going to go with Wentz 240.
240 is the Wentz number, and then we'll come back to the Manscaped
240. I'll stick with the over.
Trev?
Yeah, he's getting 300 yards passing.
Ooh, 300?
Yeah.
Bonafide's taking the under there. He says 225. No way he gets to 250.
All right, I will bump this up.
Under.
I'll bump this up for you guys.
No, it's 240.
No, I'm
you
going to
said
bump
240.
it up.
No, you said 240.
No, too late. No, this is going to drag on forever.
You do this to us all the time. You're like, oh no, you can't.
240 is it. 240 is it.
Nobody's taking it, though.
I took over 240, and people were taking over 240. People were taking under.
Yeah. But between the three of us, we all have over 240.
Then you got to come. You'll come back to it, Stoner, with a different one.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm coming.
You have to come back. Your time is up. Your time is up, Stoner. Commandalorian, thanks for the $1.99 donation there. Says a Dolla-Dolla Manscaped onesie this Sunday. Would love to see it. I would love to see it. I will be silky smooth underneath that. It's going to be great.
I would not love to see that, but I would love to see a win. I would not love to see a onesie,
a Manscaped
onesie, the whole thing. That's too much for me.
Great with Tubi coming in with another one here. Washington gets 1.5 interceptions.
I say we get 2. So yeah.
So
yeah, I'm gonna go on
Trev's
that.
at 2. I'm gonna go on the under on that one too.
All right. So we got Trev, Washington with 2 INTs.
Tizzles.
Stoner and Nathan going under.
Oh,
Can
Greg's taking the over on that. That we'll get at least 2 touchdowns there.
Okay. Can I go back now and say 270 yards for 270 yards for Wentz?
I think I'm still taking the over.
I'm still over too. I still don't understand why you guys wouldn't.
He
let me
said
do
300.
That.
How about this? Joff Titans over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
You think so?
They're going over 100 yards. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, so we got something here. All right.
Oh man.
Stoner Titans 100 plus rush yards. Trev's on the under. Where's Nathan?
Oh, see, I think this one's rough because I think that they're going to be able to hold Henry to less than 100. But as the team, I think that they might sneak over. I'm going to take the over on this one. Wow, Roger is really
Are you even
good
a fan, bro? I don't understand this guy.
You know Roger is. You see the hat. You know Roger.
As a fan, anybody can wear a hat.
Roger is old school. Roger wants us to punch them in the mouth. That's what Tennessee's going to try doing. You know that's Vrabel's
if he
MO.
wants us to
punch them in the mouth. Derrick Henry.
Why the hell is he saying we're going to throw 3 or 4 picks if we're going to punch somebody in the mouth?
Well, that's what he wants. He wants us to run the ball like 100 times, but we're going to pass, like 50 times is what he's saying. So we're going to have it there. I'm going to go with Washington has less than 2 turnovers. Like they themselves, because
offensively,
Roger said we're 3 to 4 interceptions. A couple people are talking about fumbles for Wentz. Gibson hasn't fumbled the ball this year, Trev. So I'm saying Washington ends up with less than 2 turnovers.
I think they have
committing
more.
2 turnovers. You think they have 1?
And that includes special teams, right?
Yeah.
Or how about this? How about this is important. How about team turnovers? Does that count?
Turnover on downs?
Yeah, like a turnover on downs is a team turnover. That's a turnover.
Fumble or interception. Thank you for wanting to be specific there.
I know you guys, right? So I know it'll come down to it. So
I think that they have a little less.
From the left hand or the right hand is he fumbling from?
and wait, you
Gregory
said
says we end up with I said less 2 or less. 2 or less.
You said 2 or less. That's different.
2 or less. Yes, 2 or less. Gregory, I love to see some of the positivity coming for you. That we're going to have 0.
I don't want to go over that.
Yeah, I don't want to go over that. I don't want.
Okay, 1.5.
Okay, 1.5. I'll do.
All right.
Because I think they'll have 2.
You think they'll have 2? Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So Stoner and I, and on that one, Trev, do you got one for us?
Yeah. Washington Commanders will have 4 sacks. We will sack Ryan Tannehill 4 times.
At least 4 times. I will take that.
Hang on, I'm still writing this one down. I didn't catch any of that because I was focused.
He says that Washington will have at least 4 sacks.
Wow, that's a good one, Trev. The 4 on that. Washington 4 plus sacks.
Yeah, I'm taking that action. I don't think that they're going to get.
I'm gonna go with Trev on that. I think they're gonna get 4. I think they're gonna get exactly 4.
Okay.
But Nathan's got the opposite. Okay. All right. What do you got? What's next?
Tubi says under 4.
Yeah, we got a lot of people with the under there. Gregory with Tubi. Trout agrees with you though. Steven says under 3 sacks. Fly says under 2. We have field goals. This was something that we put on the Dolla-Dolla last time. How many field goals does Washington attempt?
I don't think we ever actually consummated one last game.
Yeah, you did.
A field goal one.
You said 2.
Oh, I said 2?
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't remember going.
And he only attempted 1.
Yeah. I will still go. I will go with 2 again.
I think 2 is the right response. At least 2. Trev, you think they're going to do less than that?
Yeah, I think we're gonna do 1 again, like we did.
Yeah. They've only attempted 1 field goal on the year.
Yeah, that's it. So Stoner and Nathan have 2 plus field goals for Washington.
Doug just said 7 sacks all year for the Titans, so their pass rush is.
Yeah,
it's a mean.
Yeah, I will go with Titans less than 4 sacks.
Oh, easily. Dallas had what? 2 sacks?
Yeah,
easily less than 4.
All right, so nobody wants that. I will say Derrick Henry 2 touchdowns.
I'll take that. I don't think he gets 2 touchdowns.
All right.
Dave, you say that we are incapable of getting into the end zone. We're also not kicking field goals. They have 1 attempt on the year.
Trev, did you want the anything on the Derrick Henry?
Yeah, he's not scoring 2.
All right, so you're with Nathan on that. All right. Great
Great
Watubi's
with
got another
Tubi
one
with
there.
another one here. Thanks again for the $2 donation. Washington's first touchdown. That assumes they're going to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Is it going to be run or pass?
It's going to be a run.
It's gonna be a pass.
It's going
All
to be
right.
a pass.
Terry McLaurin.
All right.
Bomb.
Washington.
Ooh, Alcatone says
first
0 touchdowns
TD.
for Derrick Henry.
Washington first TD run. And Nathan
Uptown Dre with 1 touchdown. We got Dave with a pass as well. Washington over or under 140 yards rushing.
Oh, they're gonna be under that.
You think they'll be under?
Yeah. I
What
think
did they get? What did they get against? They had
against Dallas, maybe 120.
Dallas 142.
No, 142. Yeah, I think they'll have less than 140.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under. They had a really good running game going against Dallas, but I'm gonna take the under on the 140. Trev, what do you think? You thinking would you take the over on that? They just had 142. Roger, he loves to run the ball. We got game predictions right after this. 140.
Yeah, we'll go over it.
He said it. All right,
No,
let's
he
get in
changed
those.
his mind.
Let's.
Wait, what did you say? You said under?
Oh yeah, I'm
Nathan?
taking the under of 140.
Trev, you're going over or no?
We'll get 141.
All right.
Ooh, some people coming in there. Dave with 3 touchdowns.
Damn.
Gregory wants Henry to at least score once because he's on the fantasy team. All right.
That's
all
why
right,
I don't
all
like
right.
fantasy.
Let's go ahead and get in our game predictions. Go ahead and put those in the chat. We'll probably do some more dollar as we get there towards the actual game. We will be live streaming our watch party, providing you, of course, play-by-play and commentary for the game. So we look forward to seeing you at 12:30 on Sunday when we start that live stream. That is brought to you by Manscaped as well. But let's get in these game predictions.
All right.
Trev, who do you have for this game?
I got Washington Commanders. The Commanders. Washington Commanders. And the score is going to be, I said we had 1 field goal, 27-13.
All right. Big
Trev.
win for Washington. Big bounce back there. Stoner, do you want to get in yours before I start reading off some of these from the chat?
I'm gonna go. Stoner is gonna go with Tennessee 23-21. There you go.
23-21. All right.
Who you got winning? Who you got winning?
He's got Tennessee winning. So the Great Watubi has Washington winning 17-14. Gregory with 27-24 Washington. Alcatone 24-13 Washington. Trout 24-14 Washington. Chasing Washington has Washington 20-10. Dave says we lose by 21 or we win by 21. There's no in between there. Mr. Liberty apparently is going to go by the lose by 21 with this. Says Titans 31-14 easy. Washington, Joff says Washington wins 17-14 with a field goal in the fourth quarter. Dave 28-6 Tennessee. Mr. Liberty, this is the question I've been asking all show long. What has Washington shown that makes people think they're going to win the game? Because that is the question that needs to be answered this Sunday. Yeah. Uptown Dre's feeling pretty good about the Commanders winning 26-13. He did put the old school name in there, the Skins for that one. Bonafide picker, Washington 17, Titans 10. Commandalorian going with a super low scoring game, 14-10. The over-under for this was set at 49.5, 43.5. So the Vegas thinks it's going to be a low scoring game. Ant says that Washington wins in overtime. Get that score in there as well. Don't forget about that. Fear the Beard, 27-10 Tennessee. Roger has no faith, he says. Titans 24, Washington 7. The weather. Let's see if I have the weather.
I think it's going to be
up here.
great. I think it's going to be
It says
62 and
60s.
clear. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a great sports weather for that one.
Sure.
Doug, Washington,
Yeah.
21-18. Command this, Steve, picking the Titans 24-23. Make sure you guys head out to the Command This podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Those are a great group of guys.
Why are y'all picking Tennessee?
What's y'all? Me or all these
And
people?
Command
There's-
this. Me
there's-
too. I'm the ones I know personally is who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Why y'all picking Tennessee?
Because I picked Washington 3 straight weeks and they've lost everyone. So
So he's trying to do the buster there.
Did you
The
pick Jacksonville week 1?
I did. Look, I'm doing it for you, okay? Because I can't even pick my nose right now. So I'm just gonna try and do the opposite.
Come on, bro. It's Tennessee.
Yeah, it is Tennessee, and I have Tennessee beating Washington.
You do too?
Yes, I do. 20-17. I know, Trev. I know. I want to see Washington show me something.
I mean, what the
They
hell?
need to show me something.
They
Bring
have
it back.
We won a game.
Yeah,
Guys,
that
we
was
won the
4
game.
weeks ago, Trev. 4
Okay.
weeks ago.
It's fine.
Trev, if it makes you feel any better, I actually believe that Washington will win. But
No,
I'm
you don't.
picking it. I'm picking
You
it so
don't.
that again,
No,
I'm picking
you
it for
don't.
you.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
I know, Gregory. I'm
You
normally
and I
the
work
positive
with you
Perry.
guys, my buddies up here. This is
Yeah,
Y'all go to Titans
Burgundy
podcast.
and gold for life is what
Podcast
Stoner.
My guy or my gal, whoever that is.
They picked Washington 14, Titans 24.
Hawk
Yeah,
TV's
that
just
one.
popping in. Hawk TV, what's your game prediction?
Yeah, get your game prediction in there. Stoner and I going against the Burgundy and Gold. They will be rocking their Burgundy jerseys this week.
And-
but Trev is down on us because he's picked the home team to win.
Come on,
I
guys.
want nothing more, Trev,
Then pick it.
than for Washington
Then
to
pick it.
blow the bricks off.
Then just
Pick it, Nathan.
pick it.
Pick it.
No,
So you pick it too. Then
No, I'm doing it for you.
I don't want you to do it for me. Do it for
Stoner,
you.
you
I
know
can't
that I'm
pick.
picking the Titans. Does that change your mind? Do you want to go against that? Because normally you do that. Thanks, Ant, for yours. 30-23 Washington. Normally you pick against us just because, which is why I try to make sure you go before that because I want your honest opinion.
Yeah. Well, my
Where-
honest opinion is that Washington wins.
Okay, well, what's the score if Washington wins? Get that in there.
No, because
This is just for attention points, right?
no. I'm predicting that Tennessee wins 23-21. That's what I'm predicting.
All right, he's going to
I'm
stick
not
it
going
in
to
there.
come off with that.
Gonna stick it
Come
in
on.
there. I know. I'm so pessimistic.
Look at
I'm
you.
so wanting them to blow the bricks. I want this to be like a 41-10 game. I want to see that. I want to get back there, and I want fans to be excited about it. I want to be wrong so bad on the 20-17 here. Hawk TV getting there. Tennessee wins 35-21. Fear the Beard, what does Washington fans think of Wentz? You might want to scroll back. We had a long discussion on Wentz on that one.
Yep.
We're right now, he's not anybody's favorite, but it is what it is. Washington football is what it is. That's what the shirt even says.
It is what it is.
It is what it
Right
is.
now, if you want to know, Paul,
Ollie in the
Ollie
house.
loves right now, I mean, we wish we had anybody other than Carson Wentz playing quarterback, but that doesn't mean we don't think he can improve.
What did you
Yeah,
just say?
I said we wish we had anybody but Carson Wentz playing quarterback,
No, not
but
anybody.
it doesn't mean he can't improve.
Not
He's been
anybody.
terrible the last
I don't
2
want
years.
Taylor Heineke.
Well, you know what I mean.
There is a very loud contingent of fans who are calling for Heineke. Some are calling for Howell. I'm
No.
saying start
Why would
Wentz
you
for the
ruin
rest of the
somebody's
season
career like that?
until you get. If you're still losing, and this is kind of what we talked about on Monday. If you're still losing, but before he hits that 70% mark, then you sit him and you start
Also-
somebody else, so you don't give up that second round pick. That's just
Also-
smart. That's not tanking. That's just smart.
We ain't paying nobody $30 million to sit the bench in week 4 or week 5. That just
Dan
ain't
Snyder's
you-
not. You're damn right he's not.
sorry. I mean, he could throw picks from here to the cows come home. That man is going to be the starting quarterback, barring any setback.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the I
Well,
word.
When this is how it's going to play out, Trev.
Yep.
If it continues that way, then Carson Wentz is going to start off on an injury report, right? For a shoulder, for a knee, whatever. And then it's going to slowly get worse. And then they're going to be like, well, we're going to have to shut him down for a week or two and see how it goes. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be we're benching Carson Wentz.
Yeah, sorry.
It's going to be it's going to be his shoulder's just not responding like we hoped or whatever.
Right.
And that's what it's going to be.
Yeah,
Make sure you get Polly's in here. Washington 31, Tennessee 20. Hawk TV, you picked against Washington just a moment ago, but we appreciate the $1.99. Did you guys hear this earlier? Can you hear that?
No, we can't hear your.
All right, I got to fix my soundboard.
Yeah, it hasn't worked for like
the Hawk
now.
TV says Washington wins against Tennessee. You pay Payne ASAP. If they stuff Henry, you definitely need to pay the man.
Yeah, and you don't want to put our quarterback of the future, quote unquote, in there right now, Sam Howell, so he can have his career destroyed behind the offensive line and inexperience. You're just not going to do it. Now, if he was a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields type first round pick, okay, then maybe you'll consider it. But not just because he had a good preseason against people who don't even have jobs anymore today does not mean he's ready to be thrown in there in week 5. Just not happening. I don't care if we're playing Texans, Bears.
Give him time. Absolutely. Both time on the bench and time in the pocket, which is something that Jonathan Allen has not been given opposing quarterbacks. He's not been giving them any time in the pocket. However, he did say something that apparently was controversial over on the Junkies just yesterday. While on the Junkies, he was answering a question about the coaching staff, and he supported the coaching staff. He supported Ron, kind of put Saban's name in there as well, that they have the guys buying into it. He took accountability for the play. He said the players are the ones accountable. They're the ones on the field. They're the ones who have to actually, handle the double teams. They're the ones who have to do better. And then he said of the fans, he understands how frustrated we are. He understands that even a annoyingly optimistic guy like myself can be frustrated with this team. Maybe he didn't go that far, but he did say he understood the frustrations of the fan base. And then he said the thing that upset a lot of people, which is he wants us to keep that same energy when they turn it around. People were legit upset with this. Trev, what is going on that people are upset that he said that? Those 4 things there don't sound all that bad, but people blew up over Jonathan Allen's comments.
Because our fan base is always dissecting something to be negative about. That's what our fan base does. That's
all
what we
fan
do.
Bases, but
I'm speaking, for this case, for whatever. I mean, he's right. Keep the same energy. Our fan base is so quick to call out everybody from Dan Snyder down to the water boy on our staff on something negative. But then when we're winning, we always still find something negative to talk about when we're winning. This fan base can never be happy, no matter what. And I know if Dan Snyder leaves, everything's happy. No, if we still play poopy, then what are people going to say? If Dan Snyder is gone, what are people going to say if we still continue to play poopy? And what is he supposed to say on public? He's Jonathan Allen. He's a Pro Bowler. Of course, he literally understands the frustration because he came from Alabama. All they did was win. He never lost. He doesn't lose like this. So imagine how he feels. We're just fans. We don't get to get on the field. We don't get hit. We don't get tackled. We don't block. We don't learn plays. We just watch. So it's easy for us to say that. He came from winning. That's why he threw Nick Saban in there, because I guess him and Ron Rivera are the same hard-nosed, buying the system, everything will come into fruition. And it hasn't yet, and it pisses him off. So I agree with it's not controversial. Do you want him to throw his coaches under the bus publicly on an interview like that so he can not play for us? He can be traded away or benched, and then we'll really be on the line? No. People need to stop being so sensitive and keep that same energy, like he said, when we do get this turned around. Now, he said win, which is a really nice statement, but, I mean, I'm with Jonathan Allen. He's done nothing but great things since he's been here. The sideline altercation, I was on his side with, because it's just frustrating. Like, they're grown men, testosterone, like, it happens, okay? But it's our fan base is always just trying to find something negative about something so small and blows it up. If I was them too, I'd be annoyed and frustrated with the fan base too. Like Ron said, he's pissed. I would be too.
You see some of this happening. We had Jen Leno on the channel, and so of course we've interacted with her quite a bit, and she's talking about how Charles is getting nasty comments. Even she's received death threats over the play. Like, he gotta be better when it comes to that. I get being frustrated. I get kind of lashing out and where fans are. You're right. It's been 30 years of just trash, right? It's been that long since they won a Super Bowl, and then they haven't done anything since then. Trev, you're 35. That means you really haven't experienced winning seasons. Stoner, you came into this team when they were trash. You came in the Spurrier years. Okay. My whole life, I'm 37. They haven't had much winning that's been going on. It's honest to be frustrated, but Jonathan Allen's absolutely right. Just keep the same energy. I said, was it during I said sometime within the last week, we don't fan police here. You fan however you want. If you want to be frustrated, be frustrated. If you want to leave, if you have to step away from this team and you want to come back when we're winning, do that. Absolutely. And that's, I think, what Jonathan Allen's saying is just like, hey, if you're frustrated, showing this passion right now at the team, great, fine. Just make sure that when they're winning, you stay loud and you stay cheering and you keep that passion. Honestly, it's good for this team. I love to see it. I mean, I don't love to see, don't do the death threats. That's just trash. Okay. No. But I love to see the passion. I love to see people getting involved on the team. Why? Because that means they care. You want to see that. You know what you don't want to see? You don't want to see empty stands. You don't want to see apathy. We have 50 plus people in this chat right now. That's great. If people stop caring about this team, that number dwindles. Okay. Nobody wants to see a team where nobody cares. Right now, people care, and that is what we need. So keep up that energy. Yeah, keep caring for this team.
Just do it.
So I know you don't put much stock into these interview questions. They typically try to stay out of it. You have anything to say on Jonathan Allen's comment?
No, I think you guys nailed it perfectly. There's really nothing else to add to that.
He's supposed to do.
Well done on both.
There is another comment to talk about, and that is Ron Rivera's presser comment from I think just a couple days ago that just seemed to irk some fans as well. Maybe not as bad as Jonathan Allen's, which is interesting to me because I feel like this one might be a little bit more egregious. But when asked about kind of the rebuild and stuff and where they are, he said that it takes time. Now, Stoner, you know he's just trying to get out of that press conference. But why say that? You're in year 3 of the rebuild. Isn't there a better response to a question like that when they're asking about it rather than it takes time? Because we've heard that for the last 2 years, and we're 1-3 right now. You figure at this point of the rebuild, we should start to see some progress, and we're not. So what do you make of Ron Rivera's comments?
He's going to slip up every once in a while because he's going to accidentally throw in some honesty in there. And in this particular case, I think that's what he did. Whatever. What he's saying is not good. You said yourself that come year 3, that's when it's supposed to start showing. And this is year 3. But let's stop trying. Let's stop trying to take every little word that he says and parse it down and try and make him look bad. Okay? Because you can do that with anybody. You can go and watch our show and hear what we say and parse it down and call us hypocrites because we said one thing one way, one thing another. But I swear that's all he's trying to do in those press conferences is answer it as generally as possible to where people will be satisfied. They'll get their quotes for their publications, their websites, their newspapers, all that, and he won't have any controversy. But sometimes that honesty will slip in there, and he said something to the effect of, we have to work with what we have here, which was not a great comment, which is saying that he doesn't have much, right? So you're the guy who picked all those players. You're in charge of all this. we just got to kind of not really dive into all of his press conferences and all of his words, because we're just trying to find something that, like you said, will piss us off, because that's what our fans seem to want to do, is hear it and get pissed off for no reason.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean that. He's frustrated. He wants to win. He's doing everything he can, but he's just trying to get through these dumbass press conferences because he's obligated to do them. And then somebody catches him with a little slip up, and here we are.
I mean, and to take what he said kind of holds some truth. This man is on, I know he's picked all the players, but this man is on his third quarterback in 3 years. It's not like he had a quarterback the first year he got here, and we have that same quarterback in year 3, and we're still not winning during a rebuilding time. He's literally had to rebuild every single year he's been here. So that kind of holds some truth, and he's being honest. I mean, yeah, it is, the time is now. He said 3 years, but we didn't have Carson last year. We had Ryan Fitzpatrick all off season, and then he had to switch to Taylor Heineke like right there the second game, which throws out the whole offensive plan to cater to another quarterback. Before then, Dwayne Haskins, he benched him and put in somebody else. I guess it was Taylor. So it's like he's been having to work with 3 or 4 different quarterbacks in 3 years. I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's literally the truth. Every quarterback is different. So maybe it is true that it's going to take time. He didn't know he's going to have all these different faces in 3 years. So I think maybe he shouldn't have said by year 3 of the rebuild is where he should have never put a timeline on it. That's where he messed up. Don't put a timeline on it. Just say
his original timeline was 5 years, right? He said
right.
This is going to be a 5-year rebuild.
I'll put a timeline on it, Ron, because you don't know what could happen. You might be on your 5th quarterback next week or 2 weeks from now. You don't know. So stop putting a timeline on it, because that's giving us fan base saying, well, you said year 3 we'd be Super Bowl champions, and it's not happening, so you need to be fired. Well,
and it's just like in year 1 when they got off to a rough start, and he says, look, we're just trying to develop our players, see what we've got and all this. Yeah. And all of a sudden they started winning a little bit. Then it was like, oh, we're going for this division. It's a winnable division. And he changed his tune or whatever. Again, it's just what he's saying in these press conferences. We got to stop.
Because if he says what he wanted to say, who knows? We might not even have a coach. He could be like it. So what he's doing is, like you said, Stoner, he's just getting through the press conferences.
It is all excuses, as Paulie is saying there, Gunny Man is saying. It is all excuses. But he's not going to get – I promise you this. He will never get up there in front and say, well, I have sucked and we have sucked and my players suck and my coaches suck and I'm a terrible evaluator of talent and all. He's not going to do that, because then he's going to find himself out of a job.
Yeah, man.
Right? Dan Snyder does not want a guy he's entrusted all of this rebuild and rebrand of the name. Ron Rivera's been front and center of the rebrand of the name too. Let's not forget that. He's not going to do all that and just want his guy who represents his franchise to go out there and say, I suck. And that's what fans want him to say. They do. They want him to stand up and say, well, I suck as a coach. I suck as an evaluator. He's not going to say that. And that's what fans want. You're not going to get it. He's going to go up there and say whatever he can to get on and hopefully not have any controversy and get on the practice.
Eat a sandwich and say whatever he can.
Say stuff. Stop worrying about all that stuff.
We can't fire this man mid-season after 4 games.
It's not what he means. What he says and what he means. It's not what he really means. He goes into the locker room, and you know what he does? He screams at his coaches and he screams at his players, and he tells them, you're playing like shit. And you're coaching like crap. Yeah. And he does that. He's not going to do that in the public. He's not going to.
And he's not getting fired. So stop calling for that man to get fired. He's not getting fired mid-season, because if he does, that means Scott Turner is going to be at the helm, and we already want him fired. So it's not like we can go get Sean Payton and say, hey, you want to coach the rest of the season? Or, hey, we can't do that. So just let this man do what he has to do and just be a fan. That's all we're asking you to do. Not telling you how to be a fan, but just be a fan and relax. Relax.
Bringing out the Aaron Rodgers on us right now. Relax. Just relax.
Ask every day. He's probably fed up answering the same questions. Wouldn't you be fed up?
Geno Smith has been in Seattle for 3 years.
Thank you.
Okay? He knows that system. He knows his players. Yes. That's why he's doing fairly well for now. Just wait till the season ends and you look at his stats. It's going to be
I
poopy.
know.
Okay, he's a poopy quarterback who's having success right now because nobody's got tape on him yet. When they get all that tape on him, they're going to figure him out.
But the one thing I will say, closing up the Ron talk here for us, the one thing I'll say, I'm with you, Trev. Okay, they're not going to fire him, and one of the reasons why you're not going to fire him is because he still does have these players' ears, right? These players love Ron. They fight for Ron, and that's why you're going to keep him. We're 1-3 now. They beat Tennessee. They're 2-3. They beat the Bears. They're 3-3. Right?
You take it one Super Bowl. Watch.
You take it one game at a time. If they win these next two games, they're competitive against Green Bay. I'm telling you, people are going to be there. We're going to keep that energy, and we're going to have ourselves a good time. Of course, we're always going to keep the energy right here on Ref the District. Do you two have anything before we close it out?
I got nothing. I think I've probably said way too much already.
We have had a long show, but we appreciate everybody jumping in here. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you've subscribed to the channel and catch us on Sunday at 12:30. We'll be doing a live stream of the game, giving you play-by-play and commentary. It's going to be a good time, so make sure you're out there 12:30 on Sunday. If you're a Nationals fan, check out our video that we posted last night as we reviewed the Nationals season. With Ryan Clary, we do have some hope for maybe not next year, but in the next couple of years, we expect some more curly W's coming to the DC area.
Today?
What's that?
You see what their team account tweeted today?
No, what?
Yeah, I did.
I took a screenshot of the word tweet, like you're about to tweet, and they put, "We'd rather not."
Yeah, it's been a rough season there. It's been a rough season for Washington so far, but they look to turn things around on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans at home, wearing the burgundy jerseys for the first time. Love to see it. I'm excited for that, and we're excited for you to be here with us. And until next time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Be a man.